What's interesting about your career, and I was thinking about this the other day, show business has become very mucky and murky. You seem to have kept your nose very clean and kept out of all the nonsense of it. What do you think is going on with show business? Do you worry about it? Do you care? Or do you just do your own thing and let them get on with it?
Well, I think that, things change every 10 years, a new format comes along, video killed the radio star and, CDs killed vinyl. Downloads have killed CDs, and now we've just had a 10-year era where reality television and not reality television, talent show television has run the charts. Yeah. So it's all been very odd. But what you have to do is you have to ride with it, and you have to adapt, to the situation. Okay, so we have to go for downloads now rather than making CDs, and instead of a gig being an advert for your CD, as it was in the 80s and 90s, now a CD is an advert for your gig,
Right.
But you have to adapt, otherwise you do disappear. And people, artists who weren't very weren't a live act, they've all disappeared, because you just can't survive on CD sales anymore.
Yeah, and it's a shame because the record companies won't back you anymore, will they? I mean, that was what sustained your career.
That's right. You don't get any tour support. Most of the major record companies have been bought up and merged. There was a period when all the fantastic studios in London were all just closing down. Olympic and Eden and the Townhouse, all the very famous big studios, they've all gone. They've all become part of an umbrella company that's just basically knocked them down and started again. I went past the Townhouse the other day, and it was really depressing to see that it's being demolished.
What about all this Operation Yewtree stuff and the private life? Have you ever worried about people sticking their nose into your private life? Not that I'm alluding that you've done anything wrong in your past at all, but do you think they have the right to do this? It seems to me naming people before they've even been found guilty of anything seems extraordinary and incredibly mean and career-threatening.
It's absolutely disgusting, and what happened to, innocent until proven guilty, we've got to the stage now where we're all guilty until we're proved innocent. It's a shocking, situation, and it's quite disgusting, The newspapers in England are disgusting and always have been, but they get worse, and I agree, this delving into your private life, becomes more important than anything else. It's all, it's very slimy, isn't it,
It also makes me sad that people who have had indiscretions with women are suddenly put in the category of paedophile, which they're not. Now, I'm not saying they're good people or nice people, but there is a very big difference, isn't there?
It's absurd, especially, in our business when, growing up in the pop band, you have kids throwing themselves at you, and, most pop bands are kids themselves, and, they go along with partying and then get sued for it, 40 years later. It's nonsense,
Have you had to change how you operate now, whether you're with somebody privately? Do you worry about it, or do you just get on with your life?
Well, I was papped when I was a judge in New Zealand, and, there was a paparazzi hiding in a bush underneath my flat, and I was papped, in a very uncompromising sort of position, looking up at me with my belly hanging over my trousers and stuff,
Yeah.
So I've had that stuff, and the thing is, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no laws or anything to stop people, hiding in a bush and taking pictures of you having a coffee on on your balcony. It's just ludicrous.
I think what's even more worrying now, when the police are being complicit in leaking these stories, as we saw last week with Cliff, and of course we don't know whether he's innocent or guilty or anything, and I'm not talking about him, but it's disgraceful.
They'll probably make it, all of the evidence or any evidence that they get inadmissible because they've gone about it in such a disgusting and underhand way.
Yeah. And for somebody to have helicopters above their house not knowing they're going to be there before the police have even arrived, somebody's got to be sued, haven't they?
You'd hope so, but the thing is, in this day and age, you've got to be very, very wealthy to sue anybody, It's the way that the legal system is, if people sort of, if you're accused of something and you have to prove yourself innocent, you're very likely to run out of money before that happens, you know, because of the law system and legal system is disgusting in this country as well.
What also makes me sad is one person making money out of a story can literally bring you down and ruin your career. I mean, how do you fight back?
His life, you know. I mean, I go back now a couple of years, and do you remember the actor Len, who played Len Fairclough?
Yes, I do.
In Coronation Street. You know, he was accused by somebody of doing something in a swimming pool with a child. He was completely exonerated. You know, he was found completely innocent, but he ended up, dying penniless. Sacked from his job, and it was his life they ruined, not just his career.
It's a funny old world we're living in at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the media are controlling the whole country. The government are a bunch of simpering idiots and con men, and it's the press that run things. And if they feel like they're going to bring somebody down, they will. And it even happened to them. With Max Clifford coming